would you say is like a tough experience that you went through in your life, and how did you overcome it?
First part would be settling abroad in a country where the culture is different, where the people are different, where you've got no relations, no blood relations. So as a student, as an international student, it's very hard to be settling in abroad, and particularly in London because they are racist. I'm going to be honest with you. They are racist.
Have you experienced it?
Yeah, I've experienced it a lot because when I started my job over here, so I was working in a chicken shop, in a takeaway, and I've got a lot of stupid people. I've seen a lot of them. Color, it's about the color of your skin. So they're after your color.
This is a clip from the sort of video that goes viral on social media these days, where lots of lefties decry how terrible we are in the UK. Now, of course, the Guardianistas, the leftists, the naive and the ideologues fall for this, and it buttresses their worldview. Now, I'm not pro any racial discrimination. I think it's a bit mean. However, I do question stories like this in modern London. That's simply because he states that he worked in a chicken shop in London. Now, given that London is only about 1/3 white and those white people tend to live on the outskirts and in zones 1 and 2, the chicken shops tend to be in the more ethnic areas. So while I'm not saying it's impossible, it just seems unlikely that there are bands of white British racist people abusing him on a weekly basis. But what really makes me question this guy is when you listen to what he says next. He's playing to the modern gallery, i.e. I'm a victim of awful racism, but these terrible Brits are lazy and stupid people.
We need to realize that we are a legal citizen of this country, and we've not come over here without visas. We are here on proper visas, and apart from this, they can't do anything to us because they're lazy people. They can't work by themselves. So this is the very reason they're allowing immigrants to come over here. And because we're doing the hard jobs over here, we are running this country, we're running this economy of this country. You know what I mean?
From my brother.
Pakistan.
So he decries the supposed racism he faces, but then calls a whole country lazy and says that his people are running it. And to be fair, this is just the end result of endless leftist rhetoric which has demonised Europeans and celebrated and even venerated people from the third world. They're starting to think that they're innately superior to us. This is why we now have parts of the UK, this is in Birmingham, where you get graffiti stating things such as "no whites allowed." On top of that, of course, we've had issues such as the grooming gangs, terror attacks and all manner of cultural subversion, all while we're supposed to believe that we're the eternal oppressor and they the eternal victim. Further, I think when this guy claims that Pakistanis are coming over here to hold up our country, what he's referring to is the mass importation of a servant class by our elite liberal class to deliver their meals and do their washing and so on. That has been allowed by our globalist liberal elites, but it's time that we plugged that hole and started to become more self-sustaining as a nation. If we don't do that, we run the risk of being taken over by people like this, people who will happily play the victim about how terrible their life is in the UK, but then do the exact same thing to the British people. Personally, I'm sick of this hypocrisy in modern Britain. No longer should we as British people be shamed by it. These are just my thoughts, however. Do let me know what you think down below. And do consider subscribing to the channel.